what does a green burial not include for you?
So for us, the green burial, it doesn't involve embalming. It doesn't involve chemistry, a lot of chemicals, which aren't great for the people doing the embalming or for the environment. It doesn't involve a vault. So again, the idea of the body
returning to its natural to dirt is very reassuring to me.
Yeah. So it's, in our faith tradition, the interment is, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We return to the earth, and that's a very comforting thought, not, a sad thought at all. And
my name is James Morehouse.
I'm Scott Marsalis. We found Mueller through basically a Google search. When Jack was in hospice,
We started looking at that point.
Right.
And
I knew I wanted a green funeral, and
my father would have greatly liked that also.
yeah. So that's how we found you. And
The lack of impact, I think, would be the majority of it. I'm not sure exactly how I want to say it, but not the huge expense of a big casket and all the other parts of what's been a traditional funeral for a long time, getting the vaults and all of that. The expense of that, he thought was silly.
Yeah, and I don't know if he would have identified necessarily as a conservationist, or he's subscribed to the Minnesota conservation his entire life. He loved going hiking in the woods.
Cabin up north is not made to look pristine in a garden. It's very natural looking, so that all kind of fit with his philosophy of things.
Yeah, and then for ourselves, we do consider ourselves more green and more conservationist. Try to have a minimal impact on the environment in all ways. And so I knew for myself that I wanted a green funeral, and it just seemed to fit well with Jack as well. So when did an internet search, and we found Interra Green Burial.
Very easy to use, answered our questions that we had.
Yeah, so fill out a simple web form with our contact information, and very, very quickly got a call back within the hour, maybe even faster.
I can't say that we planned for things in advance, but he'd been in hospice care, so we've been thinking about it and discussing between the two of us what would fulfill Father's wishes and fill our wishes as well, and be respectful for all of us.
Yeah, it wasn't in his advance directive, but it's in ours, and I will update it now, probably to specify Interra as well.
My family's been buried at Roselawn Cemetery from the 1850s on, so we want to keep the family together.
Yeah, so we were thrilled when we found out that Roselawn allowed a green burial as well.
Yes.
Not a lot of people know that. You'd like more people to know about that.
Yeah, I would have expected that they didn't. So it's nice to know that Roselawn does green burials.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, I think I would encourage everybody, to get a green burial if at all possible. And it was just so easy and just resonated. It made, I think, the whole, death and grieving process so much easier because of it. So for us, the green burial, it doesn't involve embalming. It doesn't involve chemistry, a lot of chemicals, which aren't great for the people doing the embalming or for the environment. It doesn't involve a vault. So again, the idea of the body
returning to its natural to dirt is very reassuring to me.
Yeah, so it's, in our faith tradition, the interment is, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We return to the earth, and that's a very comforting thought, not, a sad thought at all. And allowing that to happen just was very important to us philosophically and spiritually. I think for me, it would maintain a sense of beauty and peace.
Respect for the deceased, which it did. That was very important to me. I have to admit, when we were first talking about it, my brain was somewhere else, and it was incredibly respectful and moving to know that Father was just very well taken care of. The coffin that was chosen, I felt very comfortable with it. It looked beautiful, but I know it's not going to be permanent, which is what's very important to us. The burial that happened, the green burial, was just, it all felt beautifully right, of carrying the very simple coffin up to the gravesides. And this is going to sound strange, but when I looked in the grave and seeing just dirt, this just seems natural and right.
I agree.
Well, we've been doing that ever since people died.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's not hidden. It wasn't hidden. Yeah. So, so many funerals I've been to, I think, try to deny death, deny the fact that the body is returning to the earth. And that wasn't true in this case at all. There was nothing gruesome about it. It just felt natural and comfortable. I don't know. I mean, I know certain Jewish traditions don't allow embalming, and so probably would have looked for a funeral home that followed that tradition. So I don't know what we'd have done about interment at Roselawn then.
Right. Well, I would have gone next to mother anyway. But
Right. So I guess we would have had to compromise, basically, which is not
what one wants to do with
right.
one's loved ones.
Yeah.
So Interra spoke your language.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Tara was fit our needs and our wishes and our faith beautifully.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Dealing with the staff here was like so easy and friendly and supportive. Every question was answered. Things I wouldn't have thought about because you don't at that time was taken care of. So I felt my father was in excellent hands, as were we, during the whole process.
Yeah, and I think the funeral was the beginning, not like the ending. You know, the grief support that you provide.
And I still like reading those letters.
That's right.
So,
And going through the, just to help with dealing with the estate, you know, and guidance that way is just really.
and knowing it's ongoing, that if I need to get some help, I can call,
Exactly.
which is a very reassuring thing. So, and we went with a very simple funeral, with father being 94 and just a very simple graveside. But I'm assuming a larger funeral would be equally as supportive.
Yes.
Actually, I have already recommended Mueller Memorial as what a very pleasant place, easy to work with, needs being met, respect both for the deceased and for us as the family. So I've mentioned it at work, at church, so that it is a place that I would feel comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. I have recommended Mueller Memorial and Interra. So yeah, so we came from the other side of St. Paul. We're on more of the western edge of St. Paul, and so it's a little bit of a drive, but
If one wants something, one will go to it. And this is, say, fit the needs beautifully. What I need to think about for a moment before I can answer it.
I think grief looks very different for every person and in a different life stage. I mean, losing Jack wasn't, a tragedy. He was 94, he had lived a good life, and he had a, fortunately, brief journey towards death, but doesn't make it necessarily always easy.
I think for myself, now thinking about after my father's passed away, my mother passed away in 2002. And even at my age now, having to reconcile and put my world back together without parents in there, even though I had become the caregiver over the past number of years, not having a parent that's part of my life anymore is a very strange feeling. And over the past month and a half since my father passed away, it's the little bits of grief that come through are like, all of a sudden just realize I've just been staring at something for 15 minutes and not thinking about it. Or I'm not trying to say it properly, but I get aggravated with things quicker, which I realize normally wouldn't have. Oh, that's because I'm thinking of, or facing all the other parts, because it's the death isn't the end, as we say. It's the beginning of one thing, but it's also then how to arrange the estate and things that are all those things that have to fall into place. So it's thinking of or going through multiple things at once.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm laughing is father being 94, I would take him grocery shopping, and we would buy the same things, which always wound up in the ice cream aisle at the grocery store for the 3 types of ice cream. If I get 94, you eat whatever you want, I don't care. I still don't want to go through the ice cream aisle. Can't do that. Yes.
This is a reminder.
Yes. Yeah. It's a reminder of my father's. Later, but not yet.
Yeah.
Well, my husband, just being there to be supportive. What do you need? What can I do for you? Stopping and dropping off the donut from you at work. That one day was delightful. And because we do live close to Roselawn, it is very comforting still just to go out. And even though there's still just a mound of dirt right now because it's not springtime, it's very peaceful just to sit there and have pleasant thoughts. Conversation with my father, with my mother, with past relatives. It's all one-sided, but that helps a lot. A suggestion I would give to somebody is, it's going to sound strange, but just let it happen. I remember some family members in the past, for my grandmother passed away, fought it. They are terrified of death. And they had horrible experiences with it. It's natural. It's going to happen to all of us. You're going to grieve. And that's the way it should be. So don't fight it. Just let it happen.
Yeah. And I think that there's no one way to grieve is really important. And, just giving each other space to grieve in our own way and being there without trying to put expectations on it.
Or somehow trying to make it better, because you're not going to. You have to go through it alone.
And it's a long journey.
Yeah.
Every grief is a, at least a year-long journey.
So I can't tell you offhand how often Grief Compass arrives on my email, but actually I do look forward to it. Sometimes they're very short readings. The first one that arrived was a checklist stating that this isn't a checklist because you're going to go through it in your own way. But I could go through and go, oh yeah, I felt that already, and I'll come back to it again. So it's very reassuring to know that anything I'm feeling, whenever I'm feeling it, is natural and it's okay. It says it's all right to be angry, to be sad, to stare into space, all that sort of stuff. And just to have that somebody who knows what they're talking about saying, you're on the right path, you're doing okay. It sucks right now, but you're doing the right thing, is very comforting. I have not had any friends who've, at this point, said, just get over it. Actually, we're still getting sympathy cards. One arrived in the mail today, which was very nice to know that, somebody's still thinking about my father, who I don't think they ever met my father, but to know that, our lives touch. And so, so far no one has said, just stop. So
No, I just say as you said earlier, the staff here at Mueller and Interra have been absolutely fantastic.
Washes
in every
every
way.
step of it with compassion, and so I felt very comfortable with what we were doing and how we were doing things.
Right. And then you just neither one of us is getting any younger, right? And so when you think about okay, as we, you think part of grieving, I think, is thinking about your own death at some point, and just knowing that there's a place like this is actually very comforting. So.
Well, I thank you both very much.
Welcome. Thank you. Yes.